Hi everyone, my name is Jad, and in this presentation my team and I, which consists of Abraham, Andrew, and Brooke, will be discussing the progress we are making in our proposal, which focuses on the issues that BME students are facing in finding job opportunities and internships. Throughout the presentation we will be discussing the issues that the BME students face, some of the goals that we hope to achieve through our proposal. We will be discussing the team responsibilities and what each team member is contributing to the project. We will be going over some results and data that we have achieved from our surveys. We will also be discussing some future work and some possible solutions and recommendations that we achieve. Next, Brooke will be emphasizing the issue and be specifying the specific proposal idea that we have stated.
Hello. During this presentation, we'll first be identifying the purpose and the proposal idea of this project. We will then talk about the team responsibilities for each member of the project. Next, we will go over the data we've collected and analyzed, and then explain how this information has helped us better understand the employment problems that BME students face. We will then talk about the timeline of the project, as well as the future work that still needs to be done to complete the project. Lastly, we will go over the recommendation that we believe will help BME students obtain these jobs and internships, as well as the final remarks of the project. The goal of this project is to better understand the difficulties and issues surrounding employment options for BME students and to develop solutions that can be easily implemented to resolve these issues. Our proposal idea is how Biomedical Engineering Society, or BMES, can make biomedical engineering students as competitive as other engineering disciplines to recruiters in the field. So now that you understand that BME students have employment issues and that you are familiar with our proposal idea, up next, Abraham will then discuss our team responsibilities for this project.
And now for team responsibilities. Jad was the leader of our group. He helped set up and arrange meeting times. He was also responsible for leading the analysis for student data, which included creating graphs and doing more in-depth analysis using Excel. I, Abraham, was responsible for collecting data from students through a survey I created on Qualtrics. I made sure it was sent out to an adequate number of students and that we received a good number of responses from students in all years. Brooke was responsible for analyzing recruiter data. Given that it was mostly short answer questions, Qualtrics didn't provide any tools to help analyze those, and so she went through each input manually and took out all the important information. Andrew was responsible for collecting recruiter data. This means he created the survey for it and also made sure it was sent out an adequate number of BME companies and recruiters in order to receive an adequate number of responses. We also all conducted research online in order to gather different statistics on how BMEs are doing within their fields and different opportunities, or I should say the number of opportunities that are provided to them. And now Jad will talk about data analysis.
So for the data analysis, we looked at the results that we obtained from the survey that we sent out to BME students. We wanted to get some background information on the students, such as their expected graduation date and planned concentration, to see if there was a correlation, for example, between graduation dates and concentration with the opportunities that you may find. From our data, we noticed that people who were in their junior and senior year were at a higher chance of finding job opportunities in comparison to, for example, freshmen and sophomore, because they do not have the skills yet that recruiters are looking for their positions. In addition, when we looked at planned concentration, from the people who took our survey, we noticed that 50% were biomechanics students, and when we evaluated the results of them finding internships, we noticed that about 60% of those had found internships in comparison to the other concentrations that there were, such as biomaterials and bioinstrumentation. So on the students' experiences finding jobs, we wanted to see how many internships people had applied to, internships or jobs people had applied to, and how many of them they had received offers for. We noticed that approximately 13 people of the people who took the survey had not applied to any internships, while 22 of them had applied to an internship between 1 and 50 or 50 plus internships. When we wanted to see how many of those received an offer, we had to exclude the number of people who had not applied to any internships because they would skew our data. So we only included the ones who had responded to 1 or 1 plus internships that they had applied to. From that, we noticed that only 25% of our students received job offers, while 75% didn't, which really emphasizes the issue of how BME students are not finding jobs in the market. To further emphasize the problem, we asked students to rate their experience of finding BME jobs from 0 to 10, with 10 being the hardest, 0 being the easiest. And we found that the mean score when tallying up all the results was 7.6, which is closer to the very difficult side, which really expresses how difficult it is for students to find jobs and the whole process is. Next, we asked students if they believed they would find jobs easier in another engineering discipline, to which 82% responded yes, because BME is it's a less known and newer field of study. Not many recruiters know about BME, so they're more hesitant to employ BME students. For that reason, people believe that if they went into a mechanical engineering or civil or chemical engineering degree, then it would be easier for them to find jobs. So next, Abraham is going to be looking into the timeline and the future work for our project proposal, and then Andrew will later explain some of the solutions and recommendations based on our initial data analysis and responses.
And now I'll be talking about the timeline and future work, what we aim to accomplish both this semester and in the upcoming semesters. So our timeline started off with Project 2, Oral Briefing. Here we came up with our finalized proposal idea and started sending out surveys to both recruiters and BME students in order to collect data. Also, based off of team members' different experiences and extracurriculars, we came up with team roles and an overall plan of how we want to approach a project throughout the semester. The second project we completed was Project 3, Needs Assessment. Here we looked at feedback from our previous project, the Oral Briefing, and incorporated it into our needs assessment. We also came up with our audiences and stakeholders and very clearly defined them. We also changed team roles or adjusted them based on what we felt people's strengths from Project 2 were. In Project 4, we analyzed our data obtained from the oral briefing and gave updates on where our proposal is headed. We also came up with different recommendations for solutions and goals for the future. In Project 5, we took in all the feedback we obtained from Projects 2 through 4 and incorporated it into this final progress report. We also go into specifics with the recommendations we came up with and talk about the feasibility, budget, and timeline for each one. We will then boil it down to the best recommendation that suits our problem. In Project 6, we reflect back on what we've completed throughout Projects 2 through 5 and also review how effectively we worked as a team. In terms of future work, we'll first start off by completing our final proposal. We'll have it written up and sent to BMES for review. Afterwards, we will have this proposal submitted to the department in BME and have them look through it and make sure it would be able to be implemented and incorporate any changes need to be done before implementation. Afterwards, we will be implementing our idea with BMES in order to help improve BMEs at Wayne State. And now Andrew will talk to you about the conclusion and the different recommendations we came up with.
Thank you for the introduction, Abe. For the next part, I'll be talking about the conclusion, which will include the different solutions that we're presenting to solve the issues at hand, as well as a short review of the contents of this report thus far. So after completing our analysis of the data that you were presented earlier, our next objective was to formulate solutions that we'd then be able to implement with BMES and with the college to give BME students a better chance at finding employment compared to students of other disciplines. And so the first thing that we had to keep in mind when we went about this was the limitations that we had as students. We wanted to make sure that our solutions that we'd present were feasible and implementable. So the first thing that we came up with, the first solution that we came up with was to hold BME skill workshops where we would offer students the opportunity to learn skills such as different coding languages, different computer-aided design programs, and other simulation softwares. These are skills that recruiters responded back to us in the recruiter surveys saying they look for in BME students. So BME students having these and being able to put them on their resume is incredibly important. The next solution we're presenting is for BMES to fund conference travel expenses. So the idea behind this is that BME is an incredibly large field, and at Wayne State, we're not necessarily exposed to all of it. And so by traveling and attending these conferences and networking at these conferences, our students are able to better understand all of the opportunities that are available to them and also to gain connections that will be very important in finding employment later on. Experts say that between 80 and of people who are in their current position got to that position through connections and networking. And our third solution that we're presenting is modifying current curriculum to include practical skills and application-based experiences. This kind of ties in with the first solution in that we want to give students the opportunity to use skills that they wouldn't normally get to use in classrooms and in projects to gain experience that they'd then be able to use to show themselves off, in a sense, to recruiters, to make themselves look more desirable. And so for the next part, Brooke is going to be talking about, she's going to be giving a summary, a review of the content of this report.
The concluding thoughts of this project and what I hope you picked up on throughout this presentation is that there's a lack of employment opportunities for BME students. Of the students we've surveyed, 75% of them could not find jobs for the opportunities that they've applied for, and 84% of them believe that other engineering majors find jobs easier than BME students do. What's left to do is write up our final proposal report, which we would discuss with the BMES advisor and president, and then after that we would present our finalized report to the department. Thank you for watching our presentation. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at gh2792@wayne.edu.